As I said in my original documentary, linked in the pinned comment and the description, when I decided to make that, I was apprehensive to discuss this part of Good Game's history, wanting to do so in a respectful manner. I'd found in my research, through every article on the program, every podcast and cast interview, it was one of the most documented, discussed and dramatised aspects of the show's history. I didn't want to pile onto the drama and speculate about things that I or no one apart from the parties involved were privy to, and instead I focused upon the positives Good Game had. In doing so, I missed out on discussing a chapter that for many viewers continues to impact them to this day, and was just as significant as the program's axing by the ABC 7 years later. Junglist, Jeremy Ray, had been the presenter on Good Game since the very beginning, hosting the program for over 100 episodes. To the TV viewer, which I was in 2009, he was simply there one week and gone the next, with fellow host Barjo, Stephen O'Donnell, joined by new host Hex, Stephanie Bendixson. Hex had been hired as a third presenter to join Junglist and Barjo for the children's spin-off Good Game Spawn Point, set to air the following year on ABC3.
Well, Junglist, thanks for all the great times here in the Den of Gaming, and he's alive and well, by the way, folks, just taken on a behind-the-scenes role on the show. And Hex, a very big warm welcome to the Good Game family.
Thanks very much.
While it was said on the program that Junglist would remain on the show in a behind-the-scenes capacity, something he thought he'd do when the show began, he instead left shortly after, unhappy with the work he was given. For all the reasons that were given for his departure by the ABC or fan speculation, him leaving was not his or Hex's decision. Neither of them had any say in the matter, and both copped an unfair amount of grief thanks to the decisions of other people. The departure of Junglist and the lack of clarity as to why it happened left a sour taste in the mouth of many of Good Game's fans, with some stepping away from the program for good, while many others continued watching into the new era. Watching Good Game for the documentary, I really liked and appreciated Junglist, seeing his confidence and command in presenting increase episode to episode. He has this easygoing natural charm that balanced out Barjo's at times surreal antics.
Fights are littered with mini-bosses and whole screens are full of goons, which can get a bit messy at times.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you stare at ants for a long period of time and then they all go a bit blurry and just kind of phase out, you know. Where'd they go?
Your analogies are getting weirder every week, Badge.
Junglist definitely got in on those antics, contributing to some of my favourite comedy moments from the show's entire history, like the chicken chase or the epic disposal of the Lost game.
And we even got one of these. It's something I haven't seen in quite a while. It's from William in Perth, and I wasn't really quite sure what to do with it.
Oh, it's like an email, but in real life.
I know. Device not recognized.
Is that like a door?
Enhance. Enhance.
What are you doing now?
Vulcan mind down.
This could be it.
Oh.
Try switching to Jedi. No,
imagine. Thanks very much for your letter, Will. Barjo out.
Junglist out.
Even knowing his departure was coming, it was still incredibly jarring to see it play out, and I can understand how many were really upset by this change. However, it doesn't excuse the disgusting and shameful behaviour that took place online towards Hex. The claims a female presenter would broaden the appeal is a tricky one to track, as 2009 was seeing a wider acceptance of gaming and the internet, and Good Game expanded onto platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and YouTube, reaching a new audience. Good Game had always appealed to gamers of all demographics. It wasn't about bringing in female viewers because they were always there. Women in gaming were always present. I mean, Sid was the program's creator.
Some of the, say, higher up the chain people than myself aren't necessarily gamers. And so I would say, and I think they're right, that you know, we are after all on the ABC, and the ABC is available to every Australian in the country. It is beholden on us to make our show accessible to everybody. I think of it as walking a bit of a line. You know, there we've got our gamers, they are our core audience. But if you are flicking through the channels and you happen to come across Good Game, I don't want to make it so unintelligible that you think, what on earth is this foreign language film? For me, I think of Top Gear, but I can't tell you what car I drive. It's a white one. The fact that the show's about cars is neither here nor there. So for us, whatever that Top Gear magic is, we try and incorporate a little bit of that in the mix so that if you've got your gamer sitting on the lounge, here's the show for them, and a non-gaming family member sitting with them, that person isn't going to want to stick pins in their eyes rather than watch the show.
The phrase mass appeal sounds to me like some buzzword thrown around by clueless higher-ups or marketing teams who thought gaming was mostly for kids or younger men, and it was latched onto by fans looking to direct their frustrations somewhere. The launch of ABC3 had Barjo and Hex front and centre as personalities on the new channel, alongside Studio 3 hosts Kane and Amberley and Prank Patrol Scotty, which naturally broadened GG's appeal with younger viewers. Kids of all ages watched and loved the show, bringing in their siblings, their parents and other family members who went on to engage with the show through its regular airings or public appearances. I don't doubt Junglist could have been a part of this expansion. In fact, the 3 hosts could have tapped into that Top Gear Magic series producer Sid mentioned in her interview, with each host bringing their own expertise and experiences to the show, just as Top Gear's presenters did. But that's disregarding any budgetary or time constraints that would arise and prevent this from being feasible. But I don't think Good Game ever became quite as mainstream as Top Gear did, with that program, its hosts and challenges appealing to a wider audience who had little to no interest in cars at all, while Good Game remained firmly focused on gaming reviews, and not trekking to Uluru dressed as Master Chief or scaling the ABC building as Ezio. Sure, Good Game moved away from more hardcore topics like overclocking and LAN parties, but a lot of those topics were confined to the past, and were rarely if ever mentioned around the time of the 100th episode, before Junglist left. Instead you have a kind of David and Margaret at the movies vibe with the 2 hosts sat next to each other on chairs. I think those saying Junglist wouldn't have had mass appeal are selling him extremely short. He was a great presenter and his American accent shouldn't have been an issue, as some speculated it could be, as at the time ABC2 was up to its eyeballs in Canadian and American programs on late nights, like Breaking Bad, which was seriously airing on ABC2 in 2010, along with Kids in the Hall, Being Erica, Durham County, Billable Hours, Sanctuary, and of course Pure Ownage, with a whole lot more. At the end of the day, the departure of Junglist was extremely messy, and continues to confuse to this day. It should have been handled a lot better than it was, and it could have avoided harming as many people as it did.
Yeah, watch out for it.
You alright?
He's fine.
Since uploading the video, I was directed to an interview Junglist did with YouTuber Cody Fulbrook only a few weeks ago. I've included the link to his video below. It's great to hear what happened straight from Junglist's mouth, and it's good to see that he's been able to move on from it. Something I think we should all do to celebrate the good times that came from the show and the presenter's other endeavours.